Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chudeshumme, washmale, ohaya gozaimasu, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, halishuma chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna mucho gracias, swabi, abballi kare aya, hosh galden and ayo sayo, khuyamora, chibato, chi haljot, kali mera khairutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha, Rehan. I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. In fact, the week. But ladies and gentlemen, first things first. Hello Eesha, assalamu alaikum. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum salam, Shahzad. I am feeling absolutely great. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And you know, Monday mornings are usually very a downer for most people, since after the very happy weekend, you have to come to work. But I actually love coming to work on Monday, since I'm joined by a very wonderful team and Shahzad.
I think that's great, Eesha. Thank you so much for such kind words as well. And you know, to kind of get started with a team who actually kind of makes the dream come true, ladies and gentlemen, is certainly a dream itself. But very quickly, because over the weekend there was a hailstorm just yesterday as well. So we thought, hey, you know what, for everybody who's out there within the Twin Cities or all over Pakistan, or people who are watching us in 46 different countries, to give you the slightest of the weather update, which is why hot and dry weather is expected across the country. Mainly hot and dry weather is expected, as I mentioned, most parts of the country. However, rain, wind and thunderstorms are likely to be taking place at isolated places in Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan and Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The Met Office informed that a westerly wave is affecting the upper parts of the country and is likely to persist in the northern areas until today. And in addition to this, obviously because there was a hailstorm just yesterday in a few areas of Islamabad, so probably D12 and E11 and whatnot. So we've always been at guard, you know. So please make sure that you protect your cars, that you protect your, you know, everything which is actually probably can be at the affairs of the hailstorm, you know, because I've been taking a lot of kumbals and jackets and rag scenes and whatnot, and putting it on my cars and the mats. And I saw just a guy, you know, just yesterday when the hailstorm was there, not using his brain and putting his hands on top of the car. Wow. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, what should I do? I was like, take out the mats and put them on the car. So I think that the quick fix for everybody who's out there would be that please make sure that you take out your carts, your what do we call them?
The covers.
The mats, you know, where they are in the car and they're handy. Take them out, put them on your windscreen. First cover the screens and then cover the roof.
That is actually a very smart idea. Rather than carrying blankets and car covers, if you're short on time, just that's
but if you have more cars, I think blankets are recommended as well, because they're softer in nature, alhamdulillah. But in addition to this, it's a very important day today, and there's a reason why I'm actually mentioning that. Now imagine that, you know, for Pakistan, the idea or the conception of Pakistan came from the ideological father, who actually happens to be Dr. Allama Iqbal, and it happens to be his death anniversary today. So the 87th death anniversary of philosopher, poet and thinker Dr. Allama Iqbal is being observed today to acknowledge his services for Muslims of the subcontinent. He was born on November 9th, 1877 in Sialkot. Allama Iqbal was a great visionary poet who conceived the idea of a separate homeland for the Muslims of the subcontinent, which was later materialized in the form of Pakistan. Allama Iqbal, through his poetry and thoughts, awakened the Muslims to seek knowledge and realize their potential for real objectives.
You know, Allama Iqbal did not only write poetry, he wrote with a purpose, and that purpose allowed us to come together as a nation. That is so beautifully put together.
Exactly. And in addition to this, you know, because certainly that's exactly what we will be talking about, whether are we taking the message of Khudi forward, are we taking the message of awakening, unity of Muslim Ummah forward, are we trying to kind of behave like Iqbal has actually envisioned how we really, the Muslims of the subcontinent then really need to do. I think these are the kind of topics that we will be discussing today. But the most important aspect, Eesha, was, which actually came to me, and I'm thankful to Allah Almighty for enlightening me. Now imagine that while I was studying just last night and I read, you know, the message about Khudi. Now what happens is that with Khudi, you know, just because of the fact that, you know, that Khudi, the word itself is not used too much. So it's hard for us to understand when we say कि इकबाल खुदी का जिक्र करते हैं. But खुदी means that if you take out the last letter I out of it and it's like khud. So you have to do it yourself in the first place. Self-actualization, self-realization, you know.
That is such a deep meaning. I never
So ladies and gentlemen, to speak about this, I'm really lucky. I've been joined by one of my most amazing guests, you know, a person who's actually like a mentor to us. He's Dr. Abdul Basit Mujahid Saab. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm fine. Good morning to you and all viewers as well.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. First things first, sir, what would you want to say on the death anniversary of Dr. Allama Iqbal? And then we'll get started with the conversation.
In fact, we all must be, first of all, grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He bestowed upon us, we who are living in this part of world, what we could say, gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the shape of Allama Muhammad Iqbal. Because you know, as in intro you very rightly said, that he dreamed about Pakistan.
True.
And at that time when people were not even thinking of that, and to be very concise, in 1930 at Allahabad, in his famous address, he floated this idea that the solution of all ills in that time of India, the economic issues, the sectarian violence, and above all, to take themselves out of the yoke of that colonizers, the British. So for that, for all ills, Allama Muhammad Iqbal recommended that this land must be divided into Muslim India and Hindu India.
Exactly.
So this, look, in 1930s, almost 100 years back, he was thinking in that way. And look, as Prophet, peace be upon him, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam rightly said, that the foresightness of mu'min is that much that you must be aware of that.
True.
So in a true sense of a true Muslim, true mu'min, Allama Muhammad Iqbal had that foresightedness. He saw, a man who saw tomorrow was in fact Iqbal.
Exactly. And sir, in addition to this, you know, because I do believe that most of the time what we do is that we miss out on the context of why Iqbal actually came up with these couplets or the poetry that he's written. Now, for everybody who's out there, and I'm so thankful that I was able to kind of get to this idea that while Iqbal was actually talking about Khudi, he was talking about awakening and action, unity of Muslim world, critique of the West materialism, this actually means that the time that we live in started back in somewhere 1930s, 1940s, and you know the time actually followed. And we do see all of these things existing today as well. So do you think that Iqbal's poetry, where we do see it as a message for us today, but it was a message for the then Muslim Ummah, because probably they weren't getting together, they weren't getting along, that they, you know, that there was materialism, the Western materialism was coming in, and that Iqbal wanted us to protect ourselves and our future generations from what's still yet to happen, the foresight?
Yes, of course. Look at the panorama of, at that time, Muslim world in particular. Look, First World War and then Second World
True.
War. Almost whole Muslim world was colonized.
True.
Either with the British or with the French or with other Western parts. So the thing is that Islam, our religion, that religion guides us to do not be contentful on the situation what people were facing at that time.
True.
Lot of people were of that view that we must be very, what we could say, congenial with the colonizers. Some people were saying that this is now happened, what to do. But Iqbal and lot of other our thinkers, they were of the view that if you are not accepting slavery, if you are not accepting the aggressor's rule, then you have to revive your inner self.
True.
And if your inner self is what we could say stronger than what are the situation, then you would necessarily come out of that. So in fact, the thing is that you mentioned that Iqbal's more focus, rather whole focus was on rebuilding self-esteem.
Yeah.
If one has confidence on himself, then he could do wonders. And in fact, the idea of Pakistan and the making of Pakistan and the survival of Pakistan, these all are not less than miracle.
True.
If you look about that period, the thing is that nobody was there from whom the Indian Muslims can expect that they could help us out. So they have to rely on themselves. And this is the crux of the message of Iqbal, that laysa lil insani illa ma sa'a. If somebody is not doing something for himself, nothing will happen.
True.
So Iqbal guided us to the true path, to the path of self, what we could say, pride.
Yeah.
That what were, look, one thing very important is that Iqbal connected us to our golden past.
Yes.
And it connected to that. And he showed to the Indian Muslims, in particular and generally whole world, that this thing is very tiny. This period of problem, this period of what we could say uncomfortability is very short. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said already in Quran that where there is a problem, the solution, the good time is very close to that.
True.
So that message in that very environment is very what we could say different, and Iqbal is very few among the galaxy of thinkers that he got appreciation in his lifetime.
Yeah,
People were following him in that very time.
You explained everything so well. Thank you so much. And my question is that how can we embed Iqbal's ideology in today's everyday life? You know, our world is so fast-paced, and I feel like our students' curriculum, in which we're sort of forced to just study the poetry, how can we reconnect with it and embed it in our everyday lives?
In fact, first thing is that we must know Iqbal. We must start to study Iqbal, and we must sit with the people, those who are expert on Iqbal studies.
Yes.
And then what Iqbal himself said, amal se zindagi banti hai, jannat bhi jannat.
Kya baat hai sir? Kya baat?
The Iqbal is saying that whatever you will do, you will face the same thing, or you will get the same thing. In fact, the Iqbal's focus is on youth.
True.
And youth of that time,
Yes.
youth of present day time, and he himself has written a lot about the youth, because he was of the view that this portion of society could do miracles, and they are fearless just to guide them. And the same is that if today we are also facing problems,
True.
we have economic problems, we have other pressures, we have in our society lot of polarization. So the remedy is that we connect ourselves to Iqbal.
Exactly, beautifully said as well. And you know, over here, Professor Dr. Abdul Basit Mujahid Sahab actually kind of mentioned that what you sow, so shall you reap. But not just that, I think in addition to this, just to complete it, even for our wonderful guest over here and for us and for our audiences, सितारों से आगे जहाँ और भी हैं, तेरी मंजिल से भी आगे रास्ते और भी हैं. So sir, thank you so much sir, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you.
And you shared such reflective thoughts.
Yeah,
and talking
alhamdulillah.
about reflection, I feel like we need to take some time to reflect on some legendary national heroes, and we will talk about the death anniversary of the legendary singer Iqbal Bano, which is being observed today. Iqbal Bano was born in the Indian city of Rohat in 1935. She was trained in classical singing, and she understood Chand Ali Khan Dehli Wala. By
Exactly, and by the
1950s,
1950s, she had become a star. Eesha, lending her voice to soundtracks of famous Urdu films like Gumnaam, Qatil, Intiqam, Sarfarosh and Nagin. She was especially renowned for her soulful renditions of ghazals by poets such as Faiz Ahmed Faiz, Qatil Shifai and Mirza Ghalib, earning her the title Queen of Ghazal. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun, may her soul rest in peace. And in addition to this, obviously, where we spoke about ghazals and how, you know, she was renowned for the renditions of ghazals, it's totally about creativity, right? And when we are to kind of speak about creativity, ladies and gentlemen, our team almost every day puts in a lot of effort. So which is why in connection to this, the World Creativity and Innovation Day is being observed today to raise awareness of the role of creativity innovation in all aspects of human development. The day aims to promote creative thinking as well as cultural, scientific and technological innovation. According to a UNESCO report, the creative industry is among the most dynamic sectors in the world economy in terms of income generation and job creation. This year's theme is Step Out and Innovate, which encourages individuals and organizations to embrace change. I think that's wonderful, which is why, in addition to this, one of our most amazing team member, Mr. Sajeel Dogar, actually made a report about Ghibli art, and a lot of people are using it. I don't know whether...
Yeah, I want to ask you,
Yeah.
Shahzad, have you given into the trend and made a Ghibli-style portrait of yourself?
So, you know, that's exactly one thing, Eesha, that I do feel most of the time on social media. What happens is that, you know, that we take, or we get inspiration from a lot of people, what people are doing. You know, but I don't think that I have that kind of personality. I was like, जब सब कर रहे हैं तो मुझे करने की क्या ज़रूरत है? But ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let's take a good look on World Creativity Day. Sajeel Dogar about Ghibli.
For decades, Studio Ghibli, the legendary Japanese animation studio, founded in 1985 by Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, has redefined storytelling. With films like Princess Mononoke and Howl's Moving Castle, Ghibli's hand-drawn artistry, lush landscapes, and deeply human themes have earned global acclaim. Their work isn't just animation, it's a labor of love, with teams of artists spending years perfecting each frame. Studio Ghibli's enchanting art style has captivated millions. But what happens when AI replicates this magic with a single click? Is this innovation or theft? Artificial intelligence promises a new frontier for creativity, offering tools to transform ideas into art instantly. Yet, beneath this innovation lies a growing controversy. Is AI exploiting the very artists it seeks to emulate? Consider the Ghibli art filter, a tool that morphs ordinary pictures into scenes reminiscent of Hayao Miyazaki's dream landscapes. While users revel in this digital alchemy, critical questions arise. How was this filter created? At whose expense? This AI was likely trained on thousands of frames from Ghibli films, learning brushstrokes, color palettes, and composition. Unlike a human artist, inspired by Miyazaki, the AI dissects and replicates the style through data, not creativity. Studio Ghibli's artists spent decades honing their craft. Yet, this AI tool uses their life work without permission, credit, or compensation. This isn't just about Ghibli. From music to literature, AI threatens to devalue human artistry. Their algorithms aren't just reshaping culture, they are being weaponized for surveillance, warfare, and propaganda. The message is clear. In the AI gold rush, accountability has taken the backseat, and supremacy is the top priority. The question isn't just how to protect artists, it's whether we'll allow the AI juggernaut to claim everything within its path.
Sajeel, that was certainly very stimulating for my brain, and because the questions that you've asked are right on target. I think you've hit the bullseye on that as well. And imagine, you know, I think we need to have this discussion over here, Eesha, on our platform as well, whether AI is exploiting, whether it's devaluing the artist. You know, for imagine for people who actually took, I don't know how many years creating Ghibli art.
Exactly.
Now AI can do it instantly.
Absolutely.
I mean, whether do they appreciate it or not without any compensations, that's certainly a dialogue that we will be having inshallah in days to come. But I think that the dialogue that we need to have is that Pakistan Super League's 10th edition is underway, and Islamabad United has been on a 9-match winning streak as well. Today it's going to be Karachi Kings versus Peshawar Zalmi. It's going to be the last game of the Karachi leg. To speak about it, we're very lucky that we've been joined by Mr. Kashif Shabbir. Hello Kashif, assalamu alaikum, good morning. How are you feeling today, brother? All right, well, that's wonderful, Kashif. I think that I might not be able to hear you in my studios, but I can hear you in my ear for now. For now. So, yeah. Kashif, can you please say a few words? I'm just going to do a quick audio check of yours. Or can you
can you hear me now?
Now we can hear
Okay, I can hear you now. Wonderful. So, Kashif, Today, it's going to be the final game of the Karachi leg of PSL's 10th edition in between Karachi Kings and Peshawar Zalmi. Just yesterday, Karachi Kings was not able to kind of bounce back in front of Islamabad United. Islamabad United had a nine-match win streak from the previous season. How do you see things going for Karachi Kings?
Things are not going good for Karachi Kings. We were expecting much better with the inclusion of David Warner, but unfortunately, David Warner is not performing up to the mark. And I think that is the main setback for Karachi Kings. Primarily, they are depending on wins, David Warner, and that's it. So if they are not performing well, I think it is a very difficult task for Karachi Kings. Seifert also is a very good player. He's also performing. So top three players, if they perform well, only then there is a chance for Karachi Kings. And we have seen in the past that when Wins is performing, Karachi Kings is winning. Seifert is performing, they are winning. But if these three players, they do not perform, then it is a very difficult task. I think Nabi has to come forward. They have to make some shuffling in the batting order, give some promotion to Nabi so that he can also perform for Karachi Kings.
Exactly. So you obviously want Nabi to kind of play up the order as well. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
But you know what was troublesome for me to see was that unfortunately Nabi was given the 14th over. Now imagine Karachi Kings needed to attack and attain wickets. That crucial partnership of Azam Khan, with the other batter actually kept on going for so long, and Nabi came, delivers the first delivery, and there, we see that how it cracked open and, the entire partnership kind of settled down. How do you think that, that David Warner should actually acquire knowledge about where to or when to use their players?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I think there has to be a more gelling in of all the players, especially the captain with the teammates, so that he should know what is the actual forte of the players and where the players should be set in. I think that is what is lacking in Karachi Kings. But if you see in the past, if you compare this Karachi team with the past Karachi team, I think this is a better option. This is a better qualified team for Karachi. And if it is properly led by David Warner, I think they have a very good possibility of making in the first four. The bowling side of Karachi King is definitely very strong. Hassan Ali is leading the bowling of Karachi Kings. And you rightly mentioned that Nabi is a striker for Karachi Kings. And if David Warner has to understand that he has to properly utilize Nabi if he really wants Karachi Kings to win.
Exactly. And Kashif, in connection to this, obviously, I think there's one more aspect that we need to discuss. First of all, Karachi not being able to perform in their, home games, number one. Number two, we have spoken about Nabi and all of this. But what I do see for a fact is that yesterday's game, if Shan Masood would have been in the playing 11, it could have been a little more settling because there was lateral movement in the pitch. We could see the invariable bounce, and it looked like as if, Islamabad United have finally made a better decision of going to field first rather than batting first.
I think Karachi King Shan has been very unfortunate because he has not been performing well in the past. Whether he has been playing for Multan Sultans or Karachi King, whatever situation is given to Shan Masood, I think this T20 format is not fully fit for Shan Masood. So not including Shan Masood is in the team. I think that was the right decision for Karachi Kings. But I think the home situation, the home ground has not been fully utilized by Karachi Kings. I think it has to be a different story for Karachi King when they'll come to Lahore and Multan, because those are all batting conducive wickets. I think those wickets are well suited for players like Seifert, Wins and David Warner. And if they all come into play, it is going to be a different story. So I can see a better Karachi King playing in Lahore and Multan as compared to the Karachi King that performed in Karachi.
Well, I think that'll be a joke too as well, where a team couldn't perform in their home conditions, but rather, in the away games. But very quickly towards the end, one last question. Karachi Kings coming against Peshawar Zalmi. Obviously, Karachi Kings is doing wonderfully well this time around rather than the previous edition of the Pakistan Super League. How do you see, because Babar Azam is not able to perform, Saim with one off half century, but the lower middle order and the middle order actually kind of contributed the other day, and Peshawar Zalmi got their first victory. How do you see them?
Yes.
Who do you think is a stronger team, Karachi Kings or Peshawar Zalmi?
Apparently, Karachi Kings, definitely. And definitely they will have an edge of their home ground as well. And because they have already won at least two games in this PSL, But Peshawar Zalmi is mainly banking on two main players, Babar Azam and Saim Ayub. But unfortunately, both of them are not performing well. But if they come into song, I'm sure this is going to be a different Peshawar Zalmi. But my vote is towards Karachi Kings because I think Karachi King is in a better position and they have an edge over Peshawar Zalmi.
Wow, thank you so much. So, Kashif, Shabbir Saab, thank you so much for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And Kashif bhai thinks that, the Karachi Kings is a far superior team because Karachi Kings, laga ke wings, something of that sort. And certainly I could have continued, but my producer does not want me to kind of, keep on talking about cricket. And I do realize that, that it's a morning show, but because it's Pakistan Super League, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the 10th edition, I think I would want to congratulate all of the stakeholders of Pakistan Super League. And I'm going to urge and request the audiences of Karachi to please go and witness a match in the National Stadium, Karachi as well. Gee, Eesha, what are we doing next?
All right, let's dive into what, okay, we have a guest who is going to guide us about investment. A person like me who knows nothing about how to invest any amount of money that I have. I think we are very happy to have on board.
Before you introduce, how much amount of money do you have? Alhamdulillah.
Do you really want me to tell you the amount of money I have in my bank account right now?
We need to kind of realize now whether, is that the amount of money that we can invest or not. Let's start from here. So, probably
really? I think it's going to be really embarrassing. You are aiming very, very high. I have a very small sum of amount. I'm waiting for my salary, inshallah, to come, and then I will follow on the footsteps of our guest, how he guides me, and I will invest accordingly.
I think that's wonderful. But ladies and gentlemen, to kind of differentiate in between the poor mindset and the rich mindset, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who's actually going to open our eyes today. And the question that we'll be asking are really interesting for all of our young audiences who are out there. You really need to sit down with a pen and paper and listen to this gentleman carefully because he happens to be an investment advisor and he is Mr. Abdul Rahman NAJAM. NAJAM bhai, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Walaikum salam. Shahzad bhai, how are you? And a very warm welcome to all our guests. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And I'm really excited to discuss this important topic today.
Kaifa halik? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Kaifa hal, Abdul? Kaifa hal?
I'm not very good with Arabic, but I hear you.
It's okay. Ana bil khair. So I was just trying to ask you how you are, but it's okay, wonderful. First of all, Abdul, let's get it sorted. Rich versus poor mindset, please elaborate on that. Who's got a richer mindset and who's got a poor mindset and how?
I think this is the perfect setting, like you were discussing in the introduction. Eesha mentioned that she is waiting for her salary. So even in developed economies, this is very prevalent that if you have to bifurcate between the rich mindset and the poor mindset is that they would exchange their time for income. So basically they would be relying on their salary, and whenever they would get their salary, the first thing they would do is do all their expenses and have nothing behind. What the rich do is first they accumulate assets, and then those assets, when they create value, then they do their expenses. So if you want to transition from the poor mindset to the rich mindset, the most important thing to do is to accumulate assets. And if you want to do this in Pakistan or around the world, the number one asset class which everyone can participate and which has given the highest returns over 100 years in US, over 25 years in Pakistan, there is no match for this asset class, and that is Pakistan Stock Exchange. Through Pakistan Stock Exchange,
yes, but don't you think that that we really need to have a better understanding of where to invest and how to invest and which stocks to invest, and that's something that we certainly have no idea about or no clue about. So how can we gain that idea?
I would actually like to add on to the question that what is the best thing to invest into? Is it gold? Is it assets? Is it property? What are the things that we need to dive into? Oh, yes. Oh. Yeah.
So a perfect question, Eesha, again. Whenever you have some savings, and this is really important in Pakistan, in countries where there is high inflation, if you are saving, you are basically making a loss. The purchasing power of your savings will decline over time. And the first thing you have to do, especially in high inflation countries like Pakistan, is to convert those savings into investments. And now to your questions, when you have to make those investments, there are two types of assets in the world. One are cash producing assets and the other are dead assets. Dead assets are merely can rise as a matter of fluctuation. Like You are assuming that someone else will come and bid a higher price for that asset. That asset itself does not produce anything. In this category, our famous Pakistanis really love to invest in land. So land, gold, all these assets come under dead assets. And cash producing assets are like companies investing in companies, and the best platform for that is Pakistan Stock Exchange. And like Shahzad said, whenever people start investing, they think that which company to invest in, which company will give them the best return. The best thing about stock market is you do not need to know this answer to start your investment journey. There are multiple companies, and you can easily invest like 5 to 10% of your portfolio in each company. And while you are doing that, what you are actually doing is becoming equal partner with top businessmen of Pakistan. So here, like people who are earning a salary, what they are dreaming is they want to earn like Muhammad Ali Tabba, like Mr. Mansha. But when you buy shares in their company for long term, their profit and your profit is actually equal. What people usually do is they buy shares, and then after some months, for some reason, if they decline, they sell. If you do this, this is called trading, then you won't become equal partners with top businessmen. Then you are merely competing against other sharks in the market, and chances are very high that you will lose your investment. But if you do it for the long term, returns are amazing. Just for reference, like Isha is starting her investment journey. So if you start today and save and invest 10,000 rupees per month for next 15 years and increase that amount by 10% every year as your salary grows, you would have saved approximately 38 lakh rupees in the next 15 years. But just by investing in the Pakistani stock market, this wealth would compound to almost 1.5 crores. And if you do this for 25 years, for someone who's very young, who's recently started his career, they would save approximately 1.2 crores in the next
Oh my
25 years
God.
throughout their career. But then when this thing compounds and increases over time, your final wealth would be around 10 crores. Now tell me if you have anything better than this.
Yeah.
That certainly motivated me a lot.
And all you have to do is just invest 10,000 rupees monthly and increase that by 10%. I think that's wonderful, which is why in addition to this, now because you've given a complete solution and people who want to do it should actually do it as well. Let me complete this first of all, because there's so much uncertainty that we have gone through as Pakistanis. Unfortunately, there's been a political turmoil. You know, we have seen how the stock markets have been crashed. We have seen how, you know, we're still looking for foreign direct investments. Alhamdulillah now, shukr alhamdulillah, under the auspices or the leadership of the Mian Muhammad Shabashi Saab, the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, we have seen things settling down. How do you think that all of these factors actually play a role on the stock market? Because we've been talking about stock market for now. Please go ahead.
So, Shahzad, these things are really important in the short term. But what we have seen so far in last, let's say, 25, 26 years, we have had multiple prime ministers. Almost all political parties have had a chance. We have seen military rule as well. But in all these 25, 26 years, if you had invested 1 lakh rupees on 1 January 1999, last 25 years have not been very good for the Pakistan economy. But this 1 lakh would have converted into 1 lakh 20,000. So despite all the turmoil and everything, the businessmen, they know how to convert their investments and make a good profit on that. And if we talk about the recent uncertainty, the number one thing on everyone's mind is Trump tariffs and how it's going to play out. Uh, what basically tariffs are, they make things expensive. So when things become expensive, let's say US puts tariffs on Chinese goods, uh, things they are importing from China will become expensive. And when people have to buy more expensive things, then their purchasing power decreases and the growth of the global economy will decline. The result of global economy declining is that all the raw materials in the world which are used for production, because the production levels also decline, the prices of oil, coal, gas, all these things decrease. And Pakistan is a large importer of all these things. So we actually benefit from all this. Our current account deficit, our number one issue, actually declines. Our inflation gets under control. And for that reason, interest rates also decline. And this has been the theme in the last 1 to 2 years as well. Our economy has stabilized, interest rates have almost halved. So it's a Perfect scenario for someone who's trying to start their investing journey.
Exactly. So this perfectly sums it up as well. But now let me bring you to another intersection where, how we as audiences or we as people or consumers or laymen do not understand that you shouldn't really be having, money in your account, but rather assets which can actually be liquidated at any point of your time. So it may be gold, you take it to the jeweler, he'll give you the money there and then as well. So how do you think that the rich and the poor mindset versus how the poor mindset will always go for cash, 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 and the rich mindset will certainly go for assets which are going to go up in value in years to come?
So for reference, let's see what different asset classes have done. So if you had, let's say, 1 lakh rupees 25 years ago, what the poor mindset would do is just save that amount. So that would still be 1 lakh rupees and it would be only worth approximately 10,000 rupees because the prices of an average good has increased by 10 times in this time. Someone who knows a little bit about financial literacy, what they would do is either buy a dollar or put it in the bank. So they would feel that these two assets would conserve their value. But even these ones have only increased, dollar has increased by only 5 times in the last 25 years. And if you had put this amount in the bank, you would have still had only 10 lakh rupees, which is the actual value of that amount today. So we wouldn't have earned anything. What the rich mindset does is he invests in different asset classes. So the number one asset class, if you had invested, like I mentioned earlier, 1 lakh would have converted into more than 1 crore. Other asset classes include gold. Gold, if you had bought 1 lakh rupees, it would have been worth approximately 50 lakh rupees. So in Pakistan, these two asset classes have given the highest returns. Gold majorly because all the central banks are buying it for the last 1 to 2 years since US put sanctions on Russia. So other countries like China are also fearful that we might face this scenario in the future. So they are bidding up the price of gold. But now it is going into a territory where I wouldn't advise anyone to buy it because it might fall substantially in the coming months as global uncertainty reduces. But stocks are one thing which US investors, UK investors, I saw this firsthand in my university, in University of Warwick. When I went there for my BSc, people who were studying over there, 18, 19 years old, they were already investing for last 2, 3 years. So you see the rich
Exactly.
mindset in the developed
Yeah,
economies.
exactly. And thank you so much, Abdul Rahman, for actually saying that and sharing that as well. I think over here in Pakistan, it becomes challenging to even invest in dollars because वो आपको डॉलर इतने ज़्यादा देते नहीं है, वो उतने ही देते हैं जितने आपको ज़रूरत हो. But in addition to this, so obviously you've spoken about Pakistan Stock Exchange. Do you think we as Pakistanis should actually have a very expanded horizon, and let's talk about US's stock exchange or stock exchange world over? Do you think that we have a chance of investing into those stock exchanges while being in Pakistan, and how can we do that if we can?
It's a limited scope because of our low dollar reserves. We do not allow dollar outflow that much, even though legally there is a limit of $100,000 per year. But when you go into the execution, there are many hurdles. But the good thing is, why do you want to do that? Even if you compare the returns of S&P 500, the prime flagship index of US stock market, the returns are very similar to PSX in the longer term. And
And it's
PSX
safer
actually
as well.
beat by a very small margin over last 25 years. So people usually associate stock market with the economy. And it's true in the short term. But in the long term, all these assets are actually cash producing assets. Just imagine when you become a partner in a company and for some reason there is devaluation. Do you think that plant that they have, which produces millions of tons of products, that is actually rupee based? It's imported and its price is in dollars. So whenever there is devaluation, after some time, they also adjust their prices and their profits also increase.
You have definitely enlightened us with these interesting facts. All right, so my next question is very critical, as I feel like we all have that one uncle or that distant relative who has been involved in an investment scam. So can you please highlight any red flags or any schemes that we should be aware of to make sure that our life savings do not fall into the drain?
And Abdul Rahman, before you actually start giving your answer, I need to say it in Urdu कि जब तक लालची जिंदा होता है ना, तब तक धोखा होता रहता है.
Oh, wise words.
Bilkul, my whole red flag would be based on knowledge. For this, for all the people who have a little bit of financial literacy, they have read about famous investors. Even the number one investor in the world, Warren Buffett, if you see his track record, his monthly return is around 2%. So he has made approximately 20% per year, which translates to about 2% per month. The number one red flag, which should stop you from investing in anything, is if someone is claiming more than that. So usually what they do is instead of saying, "Okay, we will give you fixed return of 50%, they tell you that we will give you monthly return of 5%. And the non-financial literate mind just thinks it might be just possible, 5% a month, they might be doing something and it might be possible. If you look at the track record of top investors, anything beyond 2% per month is just a full scam. It's just not possible. It just not fits into the financial realities of the world. So this is the first thing you should uh, enlighten yourself, that anyone claiming more than 2% a month is a straight up lie. Secondly, then you should always interact with people who have local registered companies. If you are, there are some forex scams which say we are registered in Bali or some other kind of country, but you don't have any power to do anything with that company and go into that jurisdiction and file a claim. So any company you are interacting with should be registered with SECP. I think if you do these two things, you will be safe from scams.
Thank you for
Exactly, well, that's
highlighting that and
wonderful, yeah.
motivating me again.
Exactly. But thank you so much for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you, and we would like to have you in days to come as well to speak about, all of these things. But very quickly, I think, Eesha, I'm going to actually kind of mention it to you as well, and Abdul Rahman, since you're out there, because that's one thing that my father has always said. And, once again in Urdu, कि अगर आपने जो investment की है, वो investment कम हो और प्रॉफिट ज़्यादा हो, वहाँ से भी भाग जाए। अगर आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट की, इन्वेस्टमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा हो और प्रॉफिट बहुत ही कम हो, तो वहाँ से भी भाग जाए। सो आई थिंक इट रियली नीड्स टू मेक सेंस एंड पीपल नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एज वेल। सो अब्दुल रहमान, डू यू थिंक दैट दिस इज अ फेयर एडवाइस ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ माय फादर?
Oh, it's very articulate as well as full of experience. One thing I would like to highlight is the number one thing we have noticed which actually stops people from investing is they do not understand the company they are investing in. So they just interact with the price. Whenever the price is declining, they feel something bad has happened. And for that, we have seen this firsthand as well. Whenever you explain the company in detail to any investor, then their conviction level increases. Now, then they are ready to invest their savings. So for that, I would
Exactly.
recommend everyone to check out our YouTube channel. We have made detailed videos of almost all top companies of Pakistan. So that will
I
give
think
you an
that's
insight of what you're becoming a partner in.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. And the annual reports are available online as well. So, you, ladies and gentlemen, you can certainly go and check for the companies that you would want to invest in. But thank you so much, Abdul Rahman, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. We do have a birthday to wish.
Yes,
So
we have.
if everybody remembers, yes, we do have a birthday to wish of this amazing little child who's actually celebrating his birthday today. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wish Mohammad Anas Asif Malik a very happy Hajj day to you.
And we hope your day is filled with lots of love,
Yeah.
laughter, and cake.
So yeah, look, I mean cake, I don't know, but Anas, happy birthday to you. May you have many more. Happy birthday, dear Anas. Happy birthday to you. Anas, look out yourselves, and for everybody who's actually celebrating their birthday today, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you enjoy your birthday to the most. Remember us all in your prayers. Until next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Have a great day.